Hi everyone, Caroline Zamora, Chief Deputy County Clerk here, and we have a very special episode for you today. Today we are at one of the oldest restaurants in Las Cruces, and we're really excited. But before we get into that, I want to go ahead and introduce Cynthia Mendoza, our communications coordinator. We also have Bernadine Caporal, our doc tech and producer extraordinaire. Behind camera, we have Jacob Slaughter, who makes this podcast happen, and our special guest today is Victor Gallegos. How's it going, Victor?
How you doing? How's everybody doing here?
We're good.
Doing all right?
We're so good today.
So happy to be here.
Thank you for having us.
That's good. That's good that everybody's happy here.
Yeah, we're really excited.
I haven't met somebody that's not happy here.
So, real quick, before we get into this, Victor, we have to talk about real quick. Bern just tried the green chili for the first time.
Wow. How long have you lived here?
3 years.
Okay.
I know, we can forgive her a little bit. I know, a little bit we can forgive her. So tell us, Bern, what did you think?
OMG. It was delicious.
Yeah, it's iconic, right?
Yeah. I'm going to keep it right here by my side.
Oh, you're not going to share?
And I might or might not share, depending on the attitudes.
Yeah, there you go. You know,
It's
I
delicious.
grew up with that chili piece, and my grandmother's the one that came up with that recipe. And it's one of the number ones.
Oh, I would order that
I
in a
think that
heartbeat.
put us in the map here in Las Cruces.
Absolutely.
Nobody knew where Las Cruces was till we got the green chili.
I love that.
And I used to go to restaurants and they used to give us just a hot sauce.
Yeah.
You couldn't get the green chili anywhere.
Right.
But now you go to restaurants and you get both, just like we did back in the 60s. You get both.
Yes.
See, and it's good to know we were the first ones.
Yeah,
Exciting.
there's no one else that does like a warm green chili like this in town.
It's incredible.
You don't
Yeah.
find it, yeah. So during the pandemic, I won't forget this because I was, cooped up at home. And I was like, Mom, I got to get out of the house. Let's go get some green chili. And so we'd come through the drive-through here because this is the original side. You have two locations. This is the Mesquite,
Yeah, this is Mesquite one.
location. And we would come and we would get the big container of green chili.
Oh,
and
heaven.
that's all I needed. And some chips. And
Heaven.
that was like my guilty pleasure during the pandemic.
I'm sorry I didn't move here before the pandemic.
You didn't miss
You're
much.
now, Bert.
Now you're here. Now you can come inside.
I think
Amen.
you're officially a New Mexican now.
I am.
Yes,
I am. I
yes,
love
yes,
it here.
really.
Yeah. But real quick, Victor, let's go ahead and jump into the episode. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and your history.
Myself, I'm Victor Gallegos. I grew up in the restaurant business with my mom and dad. My mother and my dad started the restaurant business with the help of my grandmother. And we just grew up in the restaurant business. And we had our hard times and we had good times and we have bad times. We could tell you the good times. I could tell you growing up in a restaurant, the bad things. I could tell you the good things about going up to the restaurant. One of the good things, you can ask your buddy, let's go eat at the restaurant.
Right.
Everybody in school, let's go eat at the restaurant. They couldn't charge me for it, but we all eat at the restaurant. But my mom and my dad really worked hard. They really were. I give a lot of credit to them, and not only that, that's why I always tell the customers, you're not eating here. Support your mom and pop businesses because they're the ones that really support the community.
And what do you mean by?
It's hard. It's hard. Let me give you an example. The green chili. We used to have pickers go get the green chili, and they used to come and sell it in bags and big sacks and everything. Now you have these big old commercial people buy the whole field before it produces the chili, and we get the leftovers. We buy from the guy, the commercial, or we get the leftovers and we go direct to Hatch to go get it. And that's what I've been doing. And we have a gentleman that goes direct to Hatch and gets our chili.
Nice.
I'd rather keep it as much as we could without them. Keep it homegrown.
Yeah. And so I want to go ahead and talk about a little bit because you and my mom grew up together. And I want to go ahead and talk about what it was like growing up in this neighborhood.
Oh, growing up in the neighborhood was great. It was great. Your mom probably tell you, it was great. Everybody knew everything. It was a small community. The ambulance, it was so small. Let me tell you, it was small. The ambulance would go by, and everybody would get out of their houses and go follow the ambulance. That's how small it was.
Yeah.
Or if the cop goes by, everybody gets out of the houses and goes follow the cops. And I remember my dad will always go, the cop just went by, let's go. And we'll all jump in the truck and we'll all go follow the cop.
You gotta
And
find out what's happening.
Find out who got in trouble. This guy got in trouble with this. And they all have their own news reporter. And everybody talks about the whole neighborhood. But it was just a good community. It's a good community. It was really good. And I walked down the streets and everything, and it was really good. It was everybody knew each other. And you know what my heart is for our culture. I don't want to lose our culture here. That's what I really produce the culture. I used to do car shows at the park and everything, trying to encourage our culture. Anything that has to do with our culture, we have to do those events for that.
Absolutely. I know one of the things my mom always talks about, especially growing up here in the Mesquite area, is she like you said, all the families knew each other. So sometimes, we can drive down. She'd be like, the Martinezes live there, the Sanchez's live there, the Washingtons lived right there, and she knew all the family houses.
Yeah, she knew we lived on Mesquite and Juniper, off Juniper Street, and I used to walk over here. I don't know, I was 9 years old, 8 years old. I used to walk over here, and we used to know everybody. Everybody knew each other. It was, and we knew the ones that we stay away from, and we knew the ones we stay with. My dad always and my mom said, "You stay away from this family, stay away." All this, you knew everybody. You just knew everybody. But it was awesome that if somebody gets hurt, we knew that they're hurt and they're hurting, and everybody gets together and help out. I remember one time in our house that we lived on Juniper, it was raining. And we had little pans all over where the water would drip, and I was just small watching the water drip the pans and everything. And I opened the door to see what my dad was doing. My dad and the whole community were at the ditch, building the ditch up because it was over flooding.
Oh, wow.
And they didn't want to overflood our house.
The houses,
and the whole community went out there with a shovel to save our house. And that's something you don't see. It just blew me away. That is awesome. And I can't get that off my mind. I always think of that. Now that is community.
That is a real sense of community.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh, that is. And I remember those days. Those were real. We lived right by the ditch. Yeah.
My mom has told me stories about of course my grandma was a single mom, and there are six kids in my mom's family, and I forget the gentleman who has Nueva Casita.
Henry.
I guess his mom, somehow my grandma's dog got pregnant from her dog, and it was really funny because his mom brought over like a bag of dog food as the child support, she told her, but that all the little kids got to keep all the little dogs in the neighborhood. Yeah, and that was just she has lots. Sweet. Yeah, she has lots of little stories just from growing up in the neighborhood. Like one that she told me that everyone would just walk to school because they would. What was the school that you all went to?
Yeah, we all walked to school. I remember everything was great. Talking about Nueva Casita, I remember if you weren't working with Nueva Casita, you get fired, you quit, you come over here. You get fired and quit, you go over there. It'll be like back and forth from Casita. I'm going back to Casita. I'm coming back. You always hear that. Yeah. Or you work for La Casita, and then they'll go back and forth, and back and forth. And it's just, and this is something that I always enjoy. Is I go to places and I always run into somebody. I used to work for your dad. I used to work there when I was 16. I used to do this and do that, and I go, wow. A lot of people used to work here, and they tell me, hey, I used to do this, I used to do that there, and it just makes me, it just thinks about how my parents really worked hard and how to help out the community.
And tell me about you do so much work to preserve our cultura, and tell me about all the work that you do here at the gallery, and then everything that you've done for the community, things like that.
Right now, I just got notice that we just got a grant, and we're gonna be putting a title for each house, a plaque for each house, and the history. And I always was pushing for that because if you only knew who lived there before, who was the first people lived here, you know, and I think that will preserve the building, and they'll put it in historical. And that was our main trouble, because they were tearing down buildings here. And we lost a lot of history. And if you knew this, and this house was torn down, and who lived there, and they tell me the history. And it was sad, and that's why I was always pushing that plaque. And finally, last week, they did tell me that we got the grant money, and they're gonna NMSU is gonna be working on that, and they're gonna get the stories for each one. David Chavez is involved in that one too, and he's gonna get the history of each building. This building here, Nopalitos Restaurant on Mesquite, used to be a First Spanish Baptist church.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's get into the history of this building.
This church was created for los Bacero program.
Okay.
From when they were coming from Mexico over here from World War II, when all the people left and they couldn't work on the land, and they brought a grant, and they brought every Bacero program came on. But
So I know, I don't know if we've done an episode on the Bracero program, but for those who don't know, like Victor was just saying, the Bracero program, it was started in World War II. And so, you know, soldiers were going off to either the Pacific or Europe to fight. And the United States needed workers to come and work fields, to come and do industry and things like that. And so Mexico did what Mexico does, and they worked, and they came and they helped us. And so the Bracero program, I know that's how my mom's dad came over, and he came to work the pecan farms.
yeah, a lot of people came by, and they were working the farms and everything. And they brought the pastor from Chihuahua to minister to them. And this was the only Spanish ministering for Baptists was, and I just found this out like 2 years ago, that pastor used to put a piano in back of an old truck and used to go to the fields and tell the Baceros, don't spend your money on beer and wine, save your money, take it back to Mexico and go to church.
Wow.
But they built this church, and that's how we end up having it, because they sold it. They sold it, for my dad to buy it. And my mom was real critical. I don't want to put a restaurant in the church. And my dad goes there. They want us to buy it. Just buy it. And my dad bought it for $10,000.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure at the time it was a fortune.
It was a fortune. We didn't have the money. My dad didn't have the money. And my dad had to go get the money from First National Bank to see if they'll lend him the money. And the first time he went over there, they said no.
Wow.
And he went back to the restaurant that week. I don't know the time and the day, but Mr. Payton, the president of the bank, went to the restaurant that day and saw my dad and told my dad, you need a bigger place. Yeah, all my employees, all my workers are coming over here to eat. You need to have a bigger place. Why don't you go to the bank and borrow some money? And that's when my dad said, I did. And you guys said no.
I love that.
And he said, you go tomorrow and we'll get you money.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he did. And that's how we ended up buying this building.
Imagine. Wow, that is so amazing. He was like, I did go to your bank and you said no.
It's like, all right, try again tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll go. We'll try. I'll be there tomorrow.
That's
There's
amazing.
a story about that.
Yeah.
He went over there and he got the money because he was afraid that his check that he wrote out, he didn't have money to pay for it yet, and it was gonna go. It was gonna go through, and he was afraid. I need that money. And they lent him the money. Mr. Payton helped out, and he intervened, and he got the money.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So if you ever come into the restaurant, especially when I bring friends who have never been here before, you look at that corner, and that's, of course, looks like where the altar was.
Yeah, the back wall.
And then, of course, behind that wall is like the hallway to the restrooms, and then the kitchen's in that back wall. But also, these side rooms look like they're like almost like maybe there were little classrooms for the church.
These were the classrooms, and in the back there's where the kitchen is. That was the reception room. Where the dish room is, that was the kitchen for the church. And in the same bathrooms, the boys' bathroom used to have a shower. And when you're going in, there's some little doors on the side of the wall. These little doors, and you open the doors, and there's stairways that will go into the water baptism. And the mural's still there. It was from the Jordan River. It's still there.
Crazy.
It was painted back in the 40s. It's
Yeah.
still there. And you see the steps going in there, and then my dad covered that up. But let me tell you, he used to have a TV there. Back in the 70s.
It was like his little getaway.
No, he used to have a TV there where people could sit down and watch TV. Have you ever heard of Las Cruces Cable?
Oh, yeah.
Las Cruces Cable came out in the 70s, early 70s. And nobody wanted to watch cable. Nobody bought cable from. And what they do, we had the old antennas out there, and they had to let people know that there's a Las Cruces cable here, local news then, and everything here. But people didn't know how to plug into it, and they were afraid. They didn't know how to use it. Didn't know. And what they did, they asked my father, could we put a TV here? And my dad goes, go for it, and we'll have bingo night. Okay. Wow. Bingo night on a Tuesday or Thursday night, and my dad will give them a little bowl of beans, little dried beans there, and they'll get your gift card, your bingo card, you get it at Pickwick. Cool. And you get a bingo card at Pickwick, you come at the restaurant and watch bingo because nobody had cable. Yeah. Right. And you watch bingo and you play bingo, and if you win, you call, you had a payphone here, you call, and they'll call that way. Oh, and that lasted for a while. Mm-hmm. And then they stopped it, but they never picked up their TV.
They never picked it up there. Yeah, they never picked it up.
And we had a lot of people working at the bank tower and everything, and they'll come here and watch the soap operas at 12 o'clock. Everybody, they all come in, put it on that channel. They all eat and watch what's going on. They all had that TV, Yeah. They wanted that soap operas to watch that. And that was a thing going on. And we would go out to eat, but we didn't see no TVs in no restaurants. Yeah. And I to this day I believe we were the first ones have a TV in this restaurant in Las Cruces. Wow. And then we got rid of TV, and my dad bought a big one of those old-fashioned big ones. And we had a lot of customers come in here and watch Day of Our Lives and everything, because all the secretaries, that was their thing. Yeah. We got to put Nopalitos Day of Our Lives. They'll come in 15 minutes before the show, and then as soon as it's over, they're done eating, they'll go back to work. Yeah. That was a big thing.
That's very cool.
That is funny. That is too funny.
I have to interrupt.
Go ahead, please.
I searched the vault for weeks now since we decided to come here, and I could not find the deed for the church to your dad. It was very disappointing to me, but churches are notoriously difficult to find. Was it in the pastor's name? Was it in the church's name? Was the church's name in English? It was Templo Bautista, right?
Yeah.
I tried that. I tried everything. I could not find it. I even spent 2 hours in there this morning hoping for some last-minute luck, and I ran out.
Darn.
That's okay. That's all right. But I did find something kind of cool. I found your parents' marriage certificate. Oh. This is the marriage record for your mom and dad, and I'd like to give you that.
Cool. Oh, wow. But let me tell you something about this marriage. My parents got married at this church.
Did they?
They got married here. They got married at this church. And I was going through some paperwork when my father passed away. I was going through some paperwork, and I got a deed when my dad purchased, and they have all the record on that deed. Has all the records when the ranch, when it was a farm, from the De La O's farm. It was a De La O's farm. Wow. Has their name, who lived there, and it carries it on. But it doesn't transfer to the church. It had two missionaries that got the name.
This is what makes it so hard to find the church. It was two ladies
that did the church here. I remember when my parents bought this church, there was the parking lot, there was a pastor's house, and there was another building next to the pastor's house. Yeah. And when we bought it, we had to tear down those old buildings for the parking lot. And me and my grandfather every morning will go out there and tear down the old adobe buildings and everything. And we'll do that. But it was, and I remember when I'll come down here, my grandfather will have a little sack lunch, we'll eat. And then during that time, there was a gentleman rolling with a wagon with fruits. Did your mom ever tell you that? There was a gentleman that had a wagon with fruits, with vegetables and fruit, and goes around the community and sells his vegetables and fruits. He had like a donkey carrying it, and he'll stop by and he'll give us a watermelon. He would buy a watermelon from him, and it was a thing that I was always waiting for that gentleman to come by, and I'd tell my grandpa, "Aquí viene, he's coming." My grandpa, okay, we'll get a watermelon or a vegetable, we'll get any apples or whatever, and I'll be waiting for him to come by, and I remember that. That was something that I don't see that, Yeah. But yeah, it's good to have the memories.
That is. I hope that you come and record that deed in our office so that we can have a record of it.
I'll bring it down.
That would be amazing.
So we can have a copy, and we have to keep our archives forever. they will stay with us forever.
Yes, we need to have that because it has the history of all the people that lived here.
Yeah.
And that brought my interest why we need to have the plaques.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, a lot of people didn't know this was the first Spanish Baptist church. They didn't
I
know
didn't
that.
know.
I didn't know
They
either.
thought it was a restaurant.
My family comes here. Well, we used to come here pretty often. My grandparents, this is one of their favorite places. So I had no idea that it was a church. And now that you like walk us through it, I'm like, that makes sense. Like I can see it now.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it has
Right.
the ceilings are another 2 feet up higher than that. But my dad put those there because he didn't have. It had the old ceramic tile. Little pieces were missing, and he would commercial that eyes and just covered that up.
Yeah.
And then when we looking at the ductwork and the plumbers tell me and the heating and cooling guy tell me your ductwork is good. It's like it's thick ductwork you got there. It was built in the 40s, man, after World War II because they used all the material.
Right.
The good quality material, Victor. Just real quality out here, man.
Nice, good. That's good to
It was
hear.
good. It was good. It was really good. But it's something that when my dad bought it, he donated all the parts of the church, windows, they had stainless steel, had those painted windows and all that. He donated to the church down the street from, there's a church down there, I'm trying to think of his name, but it's Mr. Bell, Pastor Bell. And it was way at the end, it's a white church, way at the end. And he came down and took the windows out, took things out. And my dad donated all that stuff for him
That's awesome.
to get it going.
I have to say, I love your website because it goes into the history. You could tell that you really are proud of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I am. You know, we had bad times. You know, we had back in the 80s, we had some bad times, but we had some good times. And we're still here.
And you
I
survived
only-
the pandemic too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we survived it. And that was by the grace of God, let me tell you. 6 months before that hit the restaurants, we were opening up the drive-up window.
Wow.
Perfect timing, huh?
Perfect time.
Perfect timing.
Perfect time.
I was coming to the drive-up during the
It
pandemic.
was 6 months, and my dad had it.
Yeah.
My dad had it. He opened it up, and we had little plywood there. Put plywood, put a little residential window there, and my dad would say, "This is for the people that come and pick up the to-goes."
Yeah.
And I had to prove to the city that it's always been there, because they didn't want to have somebody ordering. Yeah, it's just a pickup
Yeah.
window, and I said, "It's a pickup window. It's not a
Right.
You can't
Ordering
order it."
window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they pick it up. And I said, well, you go ahead and do it. It's been there. And we did it, and it was great. It was great because they closed down the restaurants.
They did.
And that to-go was lined up all here. And we came
I
to-
know
That's awesome.
I can only
So,
imagine.
so my mom's house is about, maybe 30, 45 minutes from here. So before we'd leave, we'd call and put in the order. And then, so by the time we got here, it'd be ready.
Ready to go. Ready for
Perfect.
pickup.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
That's so
we
cool.
bought we have a gallery now.
Yeah, tell us about the
Nopalitos
gallery.
Nopalitos Galleria, and we opened up that one. It's been open for 5 years already. We do it for the community. If there's artists that want to show an art show or something, we rent them out. We rent out the rooms to them, and they can show their art show. And that's what we do. We open up and we have the neighborhood meetings and they have meetings there and elections, when their elections are out, they do stuff there and it's great. It's really good. We opened up and that helps out. And we did that to save our culture too. We do that just to bring our culture.
Yeah. And so tell me more about what your hope is for. Did you start an organization, or is it all through Nopalitos, or did you start a nonprofit, or kind of how are you helping preserve that culture?
I did a nonprofit, all right, and the nonprofit is our culture. It's called culture, and the nonprofit I was doing car shows. I wanted fiestas back at that park.
I love that park.
Because when I was a little boy, they used to have fiestas there, and then I found this old paper clippings from 1957. Of fiestas there, and I found that old clipping because they had a stage there, and they used to do fiestas there. And I remember going by and they have fiestas, and they used to have fights, boxing,
Oh, wow.
Boxing matches.
matches
huh?
outside. They have it on the field and everything in the middle of the park. I go, we gotta bring that stuff back. We gotta bring it back. And what I called a car show called La Pachanga. And the Pachanga and I told him I want to do a culture, the car show, but I wanted with all of our culture, music, art, dancing,
The
dress
zoot
up,
suits.
the zoot suit. Well, we had zoot suiters from all over.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had zoot suiters from
It's a
California.
good pajanga, let me tell you. That's a good part. It was a good part. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. We had zoot suiters all the way from Chihuahua, Juarez, Colorado, California. They all came down and they did a show.
Wow.
And we had a contest who would dress the nicest back in the 40s. And they all dressed up. Oh, and then we'd make them dance. We'd have to do a little performance. Oh, those days was getting packed. It was getting packed. But the problem I had is the parking. It was getting, the first time I did it, we had like 600 people show up. The last time we did it, we had 4,000.
Wow.
4,000, and they told me take it to the plaza or take it to the Young Park, but then we're losing our culture.
Yeah,
Right.
it's for this
Our
neighborhood.
culture is our neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't want to take it to the plaza.
Right.
I don't want to take it. I want to bring it here.
I want to keep it here, in this area. Yeah.
Mesquite is one of our first streets.
Yeah.
It's Camino Real.
So in my office, actually, I'm from Teddy Moreno, who works at NMSU in the archives, and she gave me, it's a copy, but it's one of the maps from like 1878, maybe later, and it's showing this neighborhood, and like the first, and you can still see like the old ditch, the old acequia, before Alameda was there. And it's such a fun map to look at because I could be like, that one right there is where my mom grew up.
Yeah, and I have one of those, and they had the numbers.
Yes,
Had
yeah,
number one,
yeah.
and the reason why they put numbers is because when Colonel Sackett and Pablo Menendez came out here and they did the layout, you see, Colonel Sackett asked for a city, and he sent it to Chihuahua, and Chihuahua was going to say yes, but it became America,
Yeah.
and they sent it to Washington, and then they sent a guy named Colonel Sackett to go see Pablo Menendez to come out, and they said, "Oh, go ahead." Congress said, "Go ahead and put the city."
Yeah.
And they went out here measuring. There's a story on how they measured out
Yes,
and all that.
I've read that.
And then at the park, they don't know where we're at, but people saying, "Here's the platicas. This is platicas." I know, not historical or not. These are sayings from our fathers, our grandfathers. They said that at the park, they drew the hats. They drew the numbers out of a
We've
hat.
heard that story from somebody.
They
Yeah.
drew it out. Yeah, they
Yes,
drew
we
it
have.
out, and they had number 1, number 2, number 3. They go, your lot's number 20, and their lot. And I don't know if they sold it or they just give it to them. I don't know that. I wonder. But they they had the restaurant, had a big lot here, and then they asked, and when somebody asked me, why were the houses built up to the street? I said, you got to understand that during those times we had a lot of wild people out there, bandits and troublemakers and all that. And what they would do is they would get their wagons corner to corner and build like a fort.
Wow.
That way they won't go in. There's no way you could.
Protection.
It's real protection. You block them out. The houses are built up, and that's why they will do that. They'll do corner to corner and back it up, and that way you can't go in. They'll put the wagons up there. You couldn't drive through. And that's what they would do. But it was Pablo Menendez was the one that I say he's the one that came up with the story. The founder of the city, Las Cruces. And there's another story I heard. This is platicas, all
No,
right?
that's okay.
Okay,
All
this
right?
is
I don't
oral
want
history.
people
No,
coming,
exactly.
hey, Victor, you got it wrong. This is what happened. This is all platicas. These are historical talk
Yeah.
from grandfathers to grandfathers to grandfathers, all right? And they said that Pablo Menendez, when they finished out, they asked him, what are you going to name the city? And he couldn't figure it out. He said, I don't know. But he looked at Camino Real and Mesquite Street, there was a lot of crosses. He said, why don't you name it the City of the Crosses? He said, okay, we'll name it the City of the Crosses. Because in those times, when the Indians will attack a person, they'll put crosses there. And they'll mark, this is a dangerous area. It crosses until this day, when there's a sharp turn and some wreck, what do the Mexicans
Yes,
do?
exactly.
We'll put a cross there.
Yeah.
This is a dangerous area. Watch out. You know what I mean? It carries it on. But that's what they did in those days. And there was a lot of crosses all over. And he said, why don't you name it the City of the Crosses? And he said, all right, we'll name it the City of the Crosses.
That makes
and
sense.
And that's how it came out. You know, I hear a lot of stories, but that's a platica from fathers to grandfathers to grandfathers. The history, it's not written down and everything. You know, somebody says, you go on the internet, the founder of Las Cruces is Sackett. No, it was not Sackett. It was Pablo Menendez.
Yeah.
He took a lot of credit. He was asking for a city because their city, Doña Ana, was getting overpopulated.
Yeah.
he said something needs to happen. And that's what they did. Isn't that awesome?
That is really cool. I think you have just so much knowledge for this community here. And so
Oh, I could tell you a lot of stuff.
I know. We only have an hour of recording time.
There's something that I learned not too long ago. An older lady was telling me, when she was small, growing up on Mesquite Street, that the Cox branch will bring their cattle to the railroad to load them up, and they can't go down Main Street. They'll go down Mesquite Street. They'll put them on Highway 70, whatever, Highway 70, they'll come down. And they'll come down Mesquite Street, and they'll bring them down to Lowman Street, and they'll bring them down and straight to the railroad. That way it doesn't bother the city. But everybody that lived on Mesquite was mad because the cattle will go in their yard, their garden, and start eating and start taking things out. They were mad.
Yeah.
She was telling me, she was small, and she was telling me she remembers that. I go, wow, I didn't even thought about that. I never, that makes sense. How they're going to bring them down.
Right.
Their cattle, because it was a cattle ranch out there. And you bring them down through the highway, go down Mesquite Street and go on Lowman and pile them up in the...
Happens in New York all the time.
It does. I bet that happens. But, that's something I learned. I just learned that not too long ago. There's somebody who always comes up to me and brings history to me. The corner of Mesquite and Texas, there's a house. And there used to be, back in the 1800s, 1900s, used to be a store. And they were telling me, and I'm not going to mention names, I think they will hear it out and they know who it was. But they were telling me that Pancho Villa needed the guns and weapons delivered to Mexico. And they would pick up the weapons in Colorado, ammunition in Colorado, rifles in Colorado, and bring it through here, go through Camino Real, Mesquite Street, and they'll meet somebody on that little store there. It was a store. And they'll load it up and they'll take off.
Wow.
And till this day, I asked the guy, well, give me a gun, because they give them a gun. Pancho Villa gave them a gun for doing that delivery.
Wow.
And stopping there. And they used to do it. See, there's so much history.
Yes.
There's so much history, man. I hope you guys do a teaching history on Chiva Town.
I've told people about Chiva Town. My mom has told the interesting stories about Chiva Town. Well, go ahead. Tell us.
The other day I saw one of the Chiva Town's people that grew up there, and he has a T-shirt. He's gonna get me one. The capital of Las Cruces is Chiva Town.
I love it. I want one.
I go, you gotta beat me 5 of those. I'll give you one. He made them. He goes, the capital of Valley
What is
View,
Chiva Town?
Valley View School.
Yeah, tell Bird. Bird doesn't
I
know.
don't know what that is.
I don't know it, yeah.
Chiva Town was from Lowman out that way.
Okay.
And they used to have a lot of chivas out there.
What's a
Chivas
chiva?
or
Goats, right?
Goats.
Oh.
You know where Valley View Park is? That was Arroyo. That was a big
wow.
ditch. And all the goats will be out there.
Chiva Town.
That's why
Got
they call
it.
Chiva Town. That's why we call it Chiva Town. And they used to have dances. There's a lot of history on. There's a lady that used to live there, and she used to have, in 1940, they used to do dances there. And everybody would go to Chiva Town, do a dance. And they used to go drink. Drinking, you couldn't get drink during those days of prohibition.
Right.
But they would bring liquor from Mexico in here, and they had their prohibition.
They had their parties.
They had their little party, separate little party, and she had parties there. And everybody from here, this side of Mesquite Street, will go to Chiva Town to go party.
Wow. That is so cool.
There's so much. And Chiva Town, I saw him. I saw him the other day. I told him, I want one of those shirts.
Yeah.
I think it looked neat.
I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is cool. I know a lot of your staff have been here a very long time. Like I think of like Miss Paulette, or I think it was your nephew who we'd always see, and my mom used to call him boyfriend. And then I think he went to your Mesquite location.
To Missouri?
To Missouri location. And so I know like you have a lot of family involved. Do you want to talk about how it's still your family business?
Yeah, it's a family business. We're all involved. There's 4 sisters. We lost one. And now there's 3, and the one that we lost, Sylvia Marupo Gallegos, she was the really one pushing it to keep going forward. And then all of us, and then she passed away, and I came in, now I'm pushing everything going forward in this. But it is a Gallegos family. We have people here that have been here for 10 years, 5 years. Paulette's been here. We lost count. She's been over 40 years here.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Over 40. She doesn't want me to say exactly. Oh, she's this old? That's why I say, Paulette, I'm going to tell everybody we lost count from here on. It's over 40, right? Is it all right? She goes, it's all right if you say over 40, but do not tell them exactly how long I've been here. Right?
That's funny.
She's still here. She helps me out a lot.
That's awesome.
Paulette helps me out a lot, and she's still here. Paulette, and we have good people working for us, real good. And I the cooks that I have now, they're great. I still do the food. We still do, the family still does the food just like my grandmother.
Yeah.
We do everything like my grandmother's in the kitchen. My mom was always in the kitchen, always. Yeah, I mean, to get the business, to develop a root for your business, you have to really tear up the ground and plant that seed. And you know what? I wasn't there when my parents were tearing it up, but they sacrificed a lot for Nopalitos. And that's why I tell customers, you know what? We have raíz, we have roots all the way down, and it takes a lot to tear us apart because we're part of the community now. When they think of Mesquite Street, they think of Nopalitos. And if you look at Nopalitos, you'll think of Mesquite because we're part of this community. We've been here for so long. We're celebrating, going to be 62 years in this business, 62 years. And we're still here.
Yeah. Absolutely, like a foundation of the community. And then I think of other new little seeds that pop up throughout the community that you can't not give you credit, because there's the little new snow cone restaurant that opened right by the park.
Yeah, yes.
But I think also without the vibrant community around that park, and then what like Nopalitos and even Nueva Casita and just the people here, without kind of that foundation, like a new little restaurant like that little snow cone restaurant wouldn't be able to open,
They wouldn't be able to open. But when we bought that house, we bought it from the Rivera family. They've been here. It was the Montoya family, and then the Riveras bought it in 1940s. I try and preserve the house as much as I could. There's so much history in that house. And when we got it, they asked, "What are you going to do with that house? You're going to make it another Nopalitos? You're going to divide?" He goes, "No, you know what we're going to do? We're going to open up a gallery." And I was the first one to open up a gallery on Mesquite Street.
And now how many galleries are
Now it's an art center now. It's an art district now. You know what I mean? Now
Absolutely.
it's a big one. And you know what? And I always I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like to see that we're not the only one. When La Casita went up for sale, Jaime bought it, and me and him were good friends. We ran out of Coke. Hey, Jaime, you got this? Yeah, I got it. I'm on my way, drop it off. It's good. That's community. I could call Jaime. Hey, Jaime, do you have any flour? I need flour right now. I don't have no flour, but I'll get a shipment next week, and we'll take it to you. And Jaime goes, "Don't worry, Victor, we got you covered." Yeah. And Jaime will call me and let me know and tell me, and I worry about him. He worries about me. It just makes the community strong.
Absolutely.
Where they're supporting each other. But when somebody tries to open up business and doesn't want the ties with the community, it doesn't work out.
Not going to work out.
It's
Not here.
Not here.
Yeah.
It won't. And I seen it. It won't work out. You got to be involved in the community and help out.
Yeah.
You got to help out the community.
Absolutely. And I know you talked about that earlier, how it's so important because the community comes to you. Like I see Nopalitos on, the little sports teams everywhere, and
On the posters.
yeah, and how important that is to you to help the kids. Yeah.
When school starts, we know each football team comes on. Hey, will you give us some money? We need uniforms. We need sponsors for this. Basketball season comes up, then we need money for this. Cheerleaders, now we get cheerleaders. I have cheerleaders working here. We need some money for this.
Yeah.
We get, we always help them out. Oh, and if somebody passes away, we always help them out. We do our part. We can't promise you the whole thing, but we will, because you know what? We won't be here without them. I give them all the credit. And that's one thing we always thank the customers, thank the people for coming here to eat, because the options is big now. They have a lot of options now, but they choose you, and that's what I thank for.
It's the green chili salsa.
Oh man!
Staple.
One time I got a phone call about that green sauce.
Yeah.
They wanted it in New York.
Really?
They wanted it. There was a golf center in New York, and they
Yeah.
wanted the gentleman that was running that golf center. He's from New York. He was working in New York, and he ate here, and he wanted that chili. He wanted.
He wanted the recipe?
He wanted. Oh yeah, well, yeah. A lot of people want that recipe.
I've been asking for years. They won't give me the recipe.
But he wanted it, and his birthday was coming up, and what they did, they called, hey, could we have some chili delivered and surprise him? I said, sure, we did that. Yeah,
Oh, I love
they had
it.
it delivered, and they surprised him. I'll never forget that. Yeah, we have my dad, my dad will be cooking, and Johnny Cash, I think it was not Johnny Cash, will bring his bass players and everybody to pick up chilerinos
Wow.
That's
to
incredible.
California, and they'll pick them up and take them to California.
Wow.
Yeah, we had but during those times we didn't write it up down. We didn't. Hey, you came here. We have an autograph or something.
Right.
We didn't. We're just concerned that we're still open.
Yeah.
You know, when we opened up that restaurant on Missouri in 1972, Missouri was a dirt road. The pavement, it was only paved to the bridge, and that's it.
Now you think about what's there, the fire
yeah,
station,
it's
the
so
hospital.
busy.
This,
And they
yeah.
Absolutely.
And my dad will open it up at 5 o'clock in the evening. And they used to tell my dad he's crazy going out in the desert. There's nothing there. And we're the only restaurant there. He opened at 5 o'clock. And I was just a little boy, and I remember when they were laying the foundation. I was on top of the foundation before the walls, and I could see him building the hospital, the second floor, just the second floor.
Wow.
I could see it from there to the second floor building the hospital. And my dad will always think that there's going to be an off-ramp. And he's going, I'm going to buy that property. They'll put an off-ramp, and we'll boom it from the restaurant. The restaurant will make it look good.
They went one road down.
Yeah, well, no, but I went to a meeting with the state, and they're planning to do an off-ramp on down roads, yeah.
Okay.
But when I went, they said, that was 25 years from now, we'll have an off-ramp. 25 years, I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it. But my grandkids will see it.
Yeah.
My grandkids or the grandkids, somebody in the family will see it.
Yeah. That's exciting.
My dad had that vision.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that's amazing vision.
Yeah.
The
My dad got that vision from a Jewish man that my dad worked for.
Oh wow.
My dad was a tailor, and he worked at the laundromat here in Las Cruces. And the tailor told my dad, if you're gonna start a business, don't only start one, do multiple one. That way, if you run out of eggs on this one, the other one will have eggs. You always stay with multiple. Don't only stay with one. Always do multiple businesses. And that was a great advice, and my dad took it. And he bought a lot of property. He was investing in a lot of stuff. Keep it going. And my dad was a very smart businessman. He was also a mean guy. He wasn't nice. My dad was not.
No.
And I used to tell my dad, but they're saying you're mean. My dad said, I'd rather have him say I'm a mean one than a dummy.
That's fair.
I thought it was fair. Yeah, that's fair.
But that's, those are our culture. That's part of the olden days. Things that my grandfather would say, we can't say it no more. We can't say that, Grandpa. You can't say that. But it's good to know the way they thought, the way they did things.
Right.
I always say you go on Main Street, and you face Main Street to the north. Everything to your right was the blue-collar workers. Everything to the other side were the white-collar workers. They're the ones that managed the city. And when urban renewal came over, what were they going to tear down? Everything on this side. They didn't want to touch their grandfather's houses. They didn't want to touch renewing everything on this side. That wasn't fair. And there was a lot of fights going on. That's not fair. There was a lot of fights. And I met people that their grandfathers were fist fighting in the city hall. Because they wanted to stop it. They wanted to save Mesquite Street. They wanted to save our community. But they had planned to get rid of it and to do new stuff.
what a mistake that could have been, huh?
Yeah, it is. It was, I always say birth is everything new is going to fix something old. It's going to hurt it. You know what I mean? It's going to hurt. You know, we always think of something new and better, but also don't forget what we have. It's going to hurt that. It's going to hurt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bern, I still see papers in there.
I have the deed for the Galleria, or the contract actually, for the Galleria. And I wanted to say I was there just a few weeks ago. They did a talk, a historical talk, and I joined them.
Were you there when they did the historical talk at the jail?
Yes.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I told my sister Pat, she helps get those. You got to get this gentleman again. He has so much history.
We did an episode with him.
Yeah, we did an episode
Yeah,
with
he
him.
did mention
With
it.
Sal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. He was good.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Absolutely.
But I also went into the art show.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
the art show. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. It's funny. It's a popular name, Jose Gallegos.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you a little story
But
about that.
Ernestine is not popular.
Ernestina Gallegos.
So that's how you were able to find him, track him down?
Yeah.
Cool.
That was the interesting part. Yeah. So just some deeds and the contract for. Now they had a construction business also.
Yeah.
They did. Do you remember the name of it?
My dad, it was Gallegos, and then we had Genesis Construction.
Okay.
Yeah, we were building houses and everything. My dad, we went and did everything. My dad didn't just sit down. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to
Never
move.
a dull
hard
moment for you
worker.
guys.
It was a hard
Yeah,
worker.
my dad was
Awesome.
a hard worker. My whole
Great.
family's a hard worker.
Yeah.
My sisters, they're older than me, and they're out there working to this day. They're out there working. But I remember when I was small, I had to look up the phone number for the restaurant to call my dad or something, and the phone book. That was the house. It was the house number. I had to look up take that back. I was going to call my house, and I had to look. I forgot the number, and I was small, and I looked up. My friend goes, "It's probably in the phone book," and we looked up, and there was only 3 Gallegos in the city of Las Cruces.
Wow.
3 Gallegos. And 2 of them were Jose Gallegos.
Oh,
and you got
gosh.
one was a fireman. He was a fire chief here in La City of Las Cruces. And the other one was my dad, the restaurant owner. And then the other one was in Mesilla Park,
Okay.
on Mesilla. And it was 3. I go, which one it is? And I called. I go, is this it? No, this is the fireman. You got to call the restaurant owner. It's the other number. Okay, thank you. That's how
I love that. That's hilarious.
That's how we got people.
That's funny.
And then, we grew up with those numbers, and they'll call. They go, no, you mean, and this is the restaurant. Oh, okay. I need to talk to you about the fire. And it'll call the fireman here. This number. But there's only 3 Gallegos. But now, I bet there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
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 Even going through the deed books, the indexes from the 60s, that's where I was focused to try and find the church. There were 3 or 4 Gallegos, Jose Gallegos, and I could only tell by Ernestina's name that I was on the right couple.
When they went up to my dad, they asked my dad, "Why don't you buy the church?" My dad told my mom. My mom said, "We can't have a restaurant at church. Church is always a church. We can't have a restaurant." And one of the board members told my dad, "We got to sell it to you guys because the other people want to buy and they want to put a bingo hall." And we got and we got to sell it to you guys. And then
Right.
that's why my dad goes, "All right, I'll buy it then."
Wow.
That is funny. That is too funny.
Wow.
You know what? I think this has just been a really, really fun and exciting episode. We rarely get to be on the road.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so any final thoughts, any last things that you want the community to know?
I just want to thank the community. You know what? If it wasn't for them, we won't be here. You know what I mean? We've always been up. We've always been waking up, getting to work, and we always roll up our sleeves and work. But it was them that made us here. You know, they make us here. It's just, the name is there, but it's the community that support us, and it's because of them we're here. We had some bad times, we had some good times, but the community always helps us out. That's why I give them all hats goes out to the community, and it's them.
That's very exciting. Well, thank you for everything that you do and for keeping the Mesquite district still going and keeping our culture alive and everything that you're doing with the nonprofit. I hope to see lots of good things still happening. I always tell folks, my mom grew up here and I bought a house I call it hood adjacent. So I'm not exactly in Mesquite anymore, but I'm just right there. And so I still consider the Mesquite my hood still. And so I'm always over here. I come walk over here. And so I just love being where my mom grew up and where the family grew up. And she'll tell me stories about, we used to play baseball in that lot right there or something like that. She'll tell me.
It was a good community. It still is. And we lost a lot of people, but the people that moved in are still good. I would like to get a shirt straight from the Mesquite Street.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. Give us one whenever you make those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to let people know?
Straight from El Paso, straight from Las Cruces.
There we go,
Anyone
perfect.
Straight from Las Cruces, straight from Mesquite Street.
Yes.
I love that.
You just brought that idea.
I like it. Let's
do it.
Copyright it. Do you
And
want
have
to
a
let people know
picture of
your
the green chili.
Yeah.
yes,
I
a little
love
bowl. Do you want to let people know your business hours and all that good information as well?
The restaurant's open every day. My dad, let me tell you something.
But not Wednesdays.
Wednesdays, my dad will close this one on Mesquite Wednesdays.
Okay.
He used to close both of them, but we kept that one open. We closed that one Sundays.
Okay.
But this one only closes on Wednesday. My dad said Wednesday people don't go out to eat. Okay. They don't eat on Wednesdays. And churches, after church, people that close restaurants on Sundays are not a good business.
Yeah.
You gotta open churches
That's when
on
it's
Sunday
busiest.
because after church they all go out to eat.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I go, why don't you close on Mondays? No, it's because a lot of churches close on. A lot of restaurants closes on Mondays.
Yeah.
We'll close on Wednesdays, and that's
Smart.
and we've been doing that since '64.
tradition.
Every Wednesday.
To
we
this
close.
day, I don't know any other restaurant that closes on Wednesdays except Mesquite, except for this one.
You know what? Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
and it's true. People don't they don't go out to eat Wednesday. They
Yeah.
stay home.
I never really thought about that.
Well, I want to say thank you for
No,
letting us come and
thank
do
you.
this. And I know we've been talking about this for a while, and I'm glad we finally got to do this.
You
Yeah,
bet.
yeah, very exciting. Thank you, Bern, our producer extraordinaire. Thank you, Cynthia, our communications coordinator. Thank you, Jacob, who's been running around and is behind camera. We appreciate you, Jacob. My name is Caroline Zamora. I'm the Chief Deputy County Clerk. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts, including YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can listen to this podcast anywhere that you listen to podcasts, or you can check us out on YouTube. And we'll see you next time.